Think about when you meet somebody for the very first time. Usually you're trying to puzzle out for yourself whether you think they're normal, they're a little weird, or if they're just unbearably strange people. But regardless of what you think, even if you're completely weirded out, you have to react normally. It is not a good idea to just start screaming all of a sudden. I know this now. But what would stop you from screaming all of a sudden? Probably the friends that you've had and the people that you've known growing up. So as you interact with them over the years, it conditions you, more or less, to respond appropriately in different social situations. So believe it or not, the bacteria that live on and in you, otherwise known as your microbiota, behave a lot like this. So the bacteria you're exposed to, especially while you're young, actually conditions your immune and your nervous systems to respond appropriately to different things instead of freaking out over anything that might be new. So pain, which is a survival mechanism, is made up of your immune and your nervous systems. And your microbiota can regulate these systems. So surprise, surprise, certain chronic pain conditions are actually associated with certain changes in your microbiota, specifically your gut microbiota. But to help me explain, I'm going to tell you about the time when my brother started dating his girlfriend. Hang on. So his group of friends started to change quite a bit when he spent less and less time with them and more time with her. And the effect of these changes is that instead of saying typical things like, "Hey bro, that sounds awesome bro," he started saying things like, "Hey honey, love you." Yeah, that's more or less what happens to your microbiota. So certain populations of bacteria get smaller and other populations get bigger. And the effect of these changes is that it actually alters the overall appearance of your microbiota, except instead of calling it dating someone, we call these changes dysbiosis. And instead of sappy dialogue, you just end up in chronic pain. Anyway, my point is, we take patients who have just experienced some kind of trauma or injury and we collect stool samples from them as they progress through their pain. Why are we doing this? Because when we analyze the bacterial content in these samples, we can see how their microbiota may be changing over time and which of these changes are actually leading to dysbiosis and chronic pain. And once we get that, we might be able to intervene with something like probiotics, for example. Anyway, long story short, your microbiota is a lot like your group of friends. A change in them usually means there's a change in you, and some of these changes may result in some very painful dialogue. Thanks for listening.